Hello, Pisces. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. And a big thank you to all of you who followed me over here. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you for your patience and understanding in me not uploading on the other channel, which is why you guys are ahead of the pack this time. But thank you guys. I love you so much. All right, Pisces. So before I get started, I just want to remind everybody that I tend to read from Sun, Moon, and Rising. But feel free to use this energy wherever it is showing up in your birth chart. And please make sure that you are only taking in the messages that resonate. All right, Pisces, so this time you pulled free will, perception, and obsession. These two together are clearly talking about you being able to say no to something that may have become an obsession for you, where there is a change in perception on, why you may have been hyper focused on just one thing. And with free will, it makes me wonder if it wasn't something that you would have chosen for yourself. Because this one very specifically talks about not going against the free will of another. But it's also talking about you reminding yourself of your own dreams and desires and being able to say yes and no without guilt and without fear. It's saying that it's safe and easy for you to express and act upon your free will. So, is this an obsession that was given to you by another? Or are you finally kind of taking back, your own power here and not being obsessed with a certain situation? But perception is saying that your change in perception is taking you full circle, where you kind of understand why things happen the way they did. So it says, often our journey brings us full circle, leaving us to wonder why things happened. It says that going back is not an option. And it talks about transformation in the heart, change of perception, the unknown, but there's the promise of a richer experience. And that may have to do with you finally using your free will to say no to something in particular. Now, obsession. The quote for this says, "There is nothing else that can replace my focus." And then the sentence says, "All things lead to one, and then they disappear into one until only that one remains." It says, going dark, if we drown inside an obsession, we should close our eyes. We don't die in the darkness, we just fall asleep. And when we wake up, we can do so more naturally. So I feel like, this may be about something that either somebody has put on you or that you are now realizing has become a single-minded focus that is not working in your benefit, which is why there's this activation of your free will and you finally saying, I'm not doing that anymore. So wherever your focus has been, where you've just been continuously focusing on this thing, but nothing's really coming of it, I think that perception is really talking about you starting to question, well, why? Why was I obsessed with this? Why was my focus placed here? And that's where you may feel like you have a sense of free will coming back to you. But, there's also that part of it that makes me feel like something may have happened that caused this. And when you're talking about coming full circle, the whole understanding of why things happen the way that they did, I think, is what's happening in kind of like helping you break away from being so focused on something, but not really understanding why you're continuing to do that. Like, it's changed. It's not what it used to be. If that makes sense. Like I feel like I'm looking at something that I've been hyper focused on and looking at it in a different way and wondering, why the hell was I interested in that in the first place? Right? Like, what was it that took over my free will? because it almost feels like why would I do this? You know, it clearly feels like, if I could spit it out, something outside of you influenced your direction of focus. Your overall, the High Priestess, if that's not the perfect card, right? So, trusting your intuition, but also this understanding of information that may have been kept from you. You know, because this is like going behind the scenes and getting the real picture of what's going on, right? But this may be you trusting what your intuition is telling you, but you're not telling anybody else that or acting toward anything, right? She's passive. This is about observing things. So I'm interested to see how this is playing out, but you know, it reminds me of a more like receptive part of ourselves that is open up to, you know, information that not everybody sees. So in the past, the Three of Cups, right? Support, celebration, having a good time, possibly having to do with a friend group. But it's the celebration of your accomplishments and the support that you have around you. So I'm looking at this and thinking, is there somebody around you that, you know, has entrusted you with a secret, or are you talking to other people about something that you know, keep to yourself? Right? Where's this backdoor information coming from? Because the High Priestess is like the invitation into the realm of the esoteric, right? What isn't widely known. Now, you may be acting from a place where there's a new understanding of that kind of information, right? Because nothing's hidden from her. But I'm still looking at this thinking, is somebody around you keeping something from you, them, right? Okay, in the present, the Two of Pentacles. So the balancing act, being more flexible, yeah, but for me, when it comes to the decision that needs to be made here, it's about something that you keep in play. You keep playing with this. But how do we bring it into the material now? You know, so I'm interested to see what's happening here. But the decision and the juggling act that you're going through right now may be something that you're not being open about, or there's somebody else within a support group here that may be, you know, only giving you the information about what they're dealing with, what they're balancing, right? So it's either or here. Future conditions, the Page of Wands. So, you know, it's interesting because I'm looking at the Two of Pentacles and I'm thinking, okay, Pisces has something in play here. And you're not really doing anything about it, right? But your intuition may be telling you that there's a reason why this is still a part of, you know, your awareness. But it's about making the choice to either do something with it or let it go. And that faith and trust in your own intuition and yourself may be opening the door here for an opportunity to come along. This is the messenger you want to see, right? This is the exciting news. This is where there's optimism. And there's this communication. But at the same time, the overall here is like this, yeah, I'm not, you know, right? Like, there's only certain people that know what's going on. Or there's only certain people who know how you feel. But there's that support there. Now, for others of you, right, you may not be coming out with what you know or how you feel. in regards to, someone within a group. And that may be because, there's these decisions that have to be made on, okay, if I come out with this, how is this situation going to play out, right? But this is something that you've been playing with for a while, and it's like, I want this to materialize. But I keep going back to this feeling of trusting in your intuition. There's a reason why you're not really making the choice right now. But do you when this opportunity shows up? Right? So I would pay attention to, whatever communication that may be coming through that is igniting, the passion within you, the want to experience something that you haven't before. I don't want to see this as immature communication. Oh, your best path to follow, justice. Damn, man. So this makes me wonder if we're not talking about you making a choice that you may be worried that you're not supported in. Because we're talking about fairness and balance here, right? Making amends, accountability. But I love to point out the fact that this is Libra energy, and you're talking about 7th house. This is other people, right? What is the fair and balanced thing to do here? And are you going to make that decision? Or, is this Page of Wands kind of a temptation to push you in a certain direction? But then the question is it fair? But here's the thing. When it comes to making this choice, it's about what's fair for you, not anybody else. What you choose to do has nothing to do with anybody else. Now, obviously, you're going to want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who support what you're doing, how you're feeling. And you may have a select group that knows right now a decision that you're playing with. But I find this interesting, right? Because then the other part is if you're keeping information, you may be, kind of like juggling with the idea of finally communicating that. Right? Like, is it the right thing for you to do to finally, make this information known? Wow, this is interesting. But regardless, here we're talking about choices that are fair and balanced for you, right? In your environment, the 8 of Pentacles, interesting. So, hard work, right? Doing something that you know how to do very well. For some of you, this may be a career shift. But a lot of effort is being put into trying to figure out what is the best choice moving forward in terms of your work, your career, your money. And then for others of you, though, there may be a lot going on behind the scenes that you're aware of, but you may not be talking about. Now, that's only going to be for some of you. But right now, I see a lot of effort being put into something that, you're keeping within your awareness. And you may be trying to figure things out. But there's a lot of attention and focus on this decision with the 2 of Pentacles. But not a whole lot of talk about it. And there may be, you know, a little bit of worry about whether or not you're supported. But, you know, again, it's about what's fair for you. Oh, yeah. Okay, so your hopes and your fears, the Ace of Cups, right? Wanting that new beginning and wanting to have the cup refilled. So for some of you, this may be about an emotional connection with somebody that either supports you or you support them. And it may be a situation where we're not really talking about this, but I feel like an opportunity does start to open up for you to do something that I think, you know, you are excited about. You know, there's this excitement about starting this. And for some of you, yeah, this is going to have to do with love, right? And it may be that, you know, we're going to have to be honest about what's going on to possibly another person, right? But, you know, I go back to the oracle cards and I'm thinking, right, like perception changing on the amount of effort that you have been putting into a situation that you may feel like has not been fair for you. You know, and no longer obsessing over certain things. Wow, man. But I love the fact that the Ace of Cups is there. It's just right now, you know, we're in the balancing act trying to figure out, you know, what's the best decision here. But you're all about it. And then coming out, the Hermit. You got Virgo going on. Wow, man. So if there's a lot of concern right now about whether or not the choice that you're looking at is something that is, you know, fair for everybody else involved or other people, whatever the case may be, look, either you're going to have the support or you're not. And there's no sense in wasting time with people who don't support you, right? Or care about how you feel when it comes to the choices that you're making for yourself. You may be stepping back for a minute and really looking at the situation from a place where there isn't any attachment. Like, I need to just separate from this for a minute, and I really need to think about where I want to be. Do I want to continue down the path that you have been on, or do you want to take advantage of something new? Now, depending on what is communicated here, if it has anything to do with this Ace of Cups, I don't see you hesitating to put in, you know, what's necessary to make that happen. But something about it is like, shh. You know, we don't want to talk about the full details just yet. But I also kind of feel like with the Hermit that there may be a part of you that's already thought about this. So it's not necessarily about, you know, you going into solitude, but it's almost like you're breaking out of it now because you know where you want to go. You know, the self-reflection like has already happened. But there's you know, the situation of people being involved in what is fair, what is right here. Ugh, I can't. Oh my God. Ooh. Okay. So I cannot, I can't go down the rant of why I hate the Page of Swords. I do not like this card. The only positive that can come out of this is the curiosity to find out more. But this is the Page of Swords. This is the messenger you don't want. Normally when this shows up, it's difficult. It's difficult information. It's not the full story. There's only part of whatever's going on being told, possibly through third party, right? I don't like it. But the communication, it's funny because the communication is just enough for you to take it and run with it in such a way where you're not hesitating to act, right? Like, I don't see you hesitating in doing what is necessary to make sure that, you know, this takes you exactly where you envisioned yourself to be in the first place. Like, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the Hermit, and I'm looking at a situation where as soon as the door opens, you're coming out of this, but you're coming out of it from a place where self-reflection has already happened. You already know where you want to go because you've already stepped aside and separated yourself from this without the emotional detachment. Here's where I'm at, but here's where I want to be. And I feel like the communication door opens up in a way where there's all of these opportunities coming through. But you're quick to take that, run with it, and you're not hesitating to speak the truth about how you feel with the Queen of Cups. Now, absolutely, this could be about somebody saying to you, hey, you know, here's this secret information, right? But you don't really know because you're hearing it from another person. But it's just enough, I think, for either you or somebody else to come through and start communicating things having to do with emotional openness, right? This is where we start to feel the love, right? The connection, the spiritual connection. She's the mirror, though, too. Very much like the High Priestess, right? There's this deep intuitive knowing, especially emotionally. It's almost like I know that this is what I want, where I'm meant to be. But in the meantime here, this is kind of like surrounded in a not knowing, or only knowing what your emotions are telling you intuitively, but you're fully aware of it, fully open to it. But it's interesting how the Page of Swords is playing out in this situation. You know, and for some of you, you may literally find yourself in a place where, you know, you're getting this communication. And there's the willingness here to take a path that you haven't been down before. But it's almost like you have to hear it from a source other than where you were wanting it to come from. It's not direct. But it doesn't matter because then the direct, honest, blunt truth comes out. But there's this emotional connection to it with the Queen of Cups. You know, and for some of you, this could have to do with how you feel about somebody too. Compassion. Just because you're making choices that are about what is fair and balanced for you doesn't mean that, you know, you haven't taken into consideration the feelings of others, right? There's that level of understanding and awareness and compassion there. But this is also about having compassion for yourself. Earth, and then teach. So compassion in this situation is going to teach you something here that I think is going to help ground you. But also when we're looking at Earth, you know, this is the reminder to, you know, go outside, make that connection. Obviously, for a lot of us right now, there's just too much going on. But any opportunity that you have just to sit and be still with the earth that is around you, it's an opportunity for clarity to come in, especially when there's self-reflection that's happening, right? But I'm looking at this as compassion being a teacher to ground you. But you can't make decisions based on what other people are wanting or expecting from you. And, you know, I don't know why, but I feel like I have to say that. That's interesting. Traveling lightly, simplify your life. Be aware of the baggage that you carry with you on, you know, your new journeys, right? Your new beginnings. And be willing to let that go. Answering the call, the time is now. So this may be something that comes through and kind of breaks you out of a solitude. But I don't know. I feel like you've already done the self-reflection. This is meant to break you out of it and get you back in touch with something that brings, you know, that compassionate, loving side of you back out. But it's interesting looking at the cups here and looking at this connection in the right? In the fairness and balance. Either way, like you're I think in a place where if the opportunity presents itself, you're all about it. And I don't see you hesitating to put in the effort that's necessary, right? Like you already know what needs to be done to see this to, you know, the fullest, right? I like this. All right, Pisces, I hope that this made sense. I hope that it helped. I love you guys, and I will see you again soon.